Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is the video showing what I came back from Burnhams with, my purchases. And before we start on that, big thank you to Dawn Marie for the Buy Me a Coffee donation. Most welcome, and added a goodly amount to the pot, enabling me to come back with far more than I was expecting to. So thanks for that. In addition to that, my goal was to go to Burnhams and select from the Pleonies available to hand pick, to be able to pick bulbs up, look at them, see how many growths, all that sort of stuff, look at the quality of the bulb. So effectively to get first pick, and it was very kind of Sarah to allow me to do that, especially as she had to get them all out, get all the labels done and everything in advance of them going for sale today. And on that subject, the website, Burnhams website, has been updated this morning, very recently, with the Pleonies that are available. Their website works quite nicely, so as they're sold, the number available goes down until they're gone, and when they're gone, they're unavailable. So you don't buy something that isn't there. It's a proper website basically. But yes, they're all up there now. If you go into their website, look along the banner headings, find shop, open up the shop tab, and the Pleonies are a separate item, so they've been itemised. So you click on that and go straight to them. And as I said, talking to Arthur and Sarah yesterday, they both agreed separately, they weren't in the same room at the time, they go very quickly. Some of them they've got a lot of, and some half a dozen. Less now, because some of those are in the bag. Right, so firstly, we've got some more of this very fine bark. Basically what I've got in the bag, some more Pleonies, are all going to get potted quite soon. So that's that. Now the other thing, obviously while I was there, you grab information where you can get it. I got told off. I think it was a serious one. But I was talking about, trying to get people to join societies, and, a lot of societies having trouble. And Sarah looked straight at me and she said, well, that's partly your fault, What do you mean? Well, there's so much information on the internet via people like you now, people don't need to join societies. Whoops. I'm not packing it in. It's as well as, not an alternative to. You can watch YouTube, Orchid channels, watch videos, gain information, see pretty pictures of blooms, all that sort of stuff, as well as going to a society. Because watching those YouTube videos, where's the people? You don't meet anyone, do you? You don't sit down and have a chat over a coffee. You don't get to pick people's plants up and look them over and discuss them individually. You don't get any of that on YouTube. There is a difference. So yes, hopefully societies have a reasonable future. So whether they'll last forever or not, we shall see. But I gleaned some more information. I did mention that some people store their bulbs in the fridge. They overwinter them in their dormancy period in the fridge, and then they bring them out at what they consider to be an appropriate time to break the dormancy. Coming from people who used to show at Chelsea and those sort of big shows, loads of gold medals and everything, they said that can successfully be used to hold back blooming for a specific time of year. Yeah? So that's useful to know. It's not necessary, but that would be the effect it could have. In addition to that, if they're not kept cold enough in winter, they will break their dormancy earlier in the year. Therefore they will bloom earlier in the year. There is an advantage to that, because if they bloom in March rather than end of April, say, chances are it's still cooler and the blooms will last longer. Because as temperatures start to rise, the longevity of the blooms disappears. So these are all little tips, little snippets of information that you get from talking to people. So that's that. I did say I got a plant as well. We'll have a look at that one first. Now, this is a plant I've had before, around the other place. And it grew so big that I had to get rid of it, because it just took up far too much space, equivalent of a flipping cymbidium. Except for round there, we were all a bit like that. You know, I only had I had about a square metre to stand in, and everywhere else was shelves and hanging mounts and stuff. Really cramped conditions. Quite good for most orchids, because there is something about plants squashed together, they seem to do pretty good, as opposed to individually spaced out. I think it's to do with the collective humidity. But anyway, so this is a replacement for one I had a long time ago, possibly even before my YouTube channel started, I don't know, but it was a long time ago. It's a primary cross, and the parents are both cool to cold growers, so there is no reason why this shouldn't do well here. Something else I discussed with Arthur is growing season, the length of the growing season. I was explaining to Arthur that I don't get the full growing season that I used to get, and we were specifically discussing this plant. He said the chances are the canes won't grow as large then, because they haven't got the length of season before the day lengths drop right down again in the autumn. The temperatures start to drop. It's a winter rester, so it's obviously a Dendrobium. And, well, maybe not obviously, but it is. So my shorter season could help dwarf this one down a bit, and it might not go quite so mad as it did around the other place. It has got some flowers on, but I didn't pick it because it was the one with the best flowers. I picked it because I thought it was the best plant, which is, you know me, that's what I do. If I throw it on the floor, I'll have to bend down to pick it up, won't I? Put it on a shelf. Right, so this is Dendrobium cassiope, and it's a cross between nobile, the species obviously, and moniliform, and it comes up with that. So that's what the blooms look like. They've got a lovely deep colour in the centre, deep sort of burgundy. No, it's more purple than red, but it's like a mixture of purple and red. And the blooms themselves are creamy white. They're not pure white. Is that what I think it is, Sarah? No. I thought it was an aphid. But why I picked on this one, now Arthur said these were potted up about 18 months ago. So he said that big cane there was grown in that pot, so it should have a decent root system under it. Though that cane there is where the blooms will be next year, yeah? But in addition to that, we have an actively growing cane here and another new shoot down there, which is why I picked this plant. Was effectively the two new canes that are growing now. This one's got its terminal leaf, so it's finished. So that's the plant I got. That will probably get mounted so that it can hang down, because otherwise it'll have to stay permanently staked and it'll end up getting top heavy and keep falling over, so it'll probably get mounted. So that's the plant. Now we'll have to get the camera over here because I'm going to be working on the bench, so bit of seasick. Not seasick Steve. You won't know what I'm on about. Seasick Steve. Now it's going to rain and make lots of noise. Fabulous. I'll zoom that in a bit on the table so that because we are looking at pretty small stuff now. Now what all these, they were all in trays with a pile of labels and the price. Yeah? So I could sort through what I wanted, have a read of the label, work out what colour it was and all that sort of stuff and whether I wanted it or not. And then Sarah had a load of little pots, this size pot. And she said, if you pick the bulbs you want and put them in one of those pots and put a label in with them and put them over there, I'll get them packaged up for you later, ready for you to go. So they're all in their own individual envelopes with a label. So we will just get them out. They haven't got their names on here, we'll have to get the label out. Now, oh Sarah, oh she's been very kind and actually put a label for each bulb, whereas I only really wanted one. Just need to know what they are. Right, so we've got a label for each of the bulbs, and on the front it says 3 by 8. That means I bought 3 bulbs and they were £8 each. That's so that she didn't have to open the bags at the till. It's all organised, you know. Right, so these are the 3 bulbs. It's the remains of the old bulb here. New growth. Again, new growth. Only one on these. And another one. Now some of the bulbs in this tray didn't look that good, but these 3 looked okay. And this is Pleonie Vesuvius Leopard. Oh, I'll put the names up. And this says bright pink flowers on orange fimbriated lip with red spots. So that's a combination of pink, orange and red. That should look pretty good. I tried to avoid getting pink flowers because apart from one, all the ones I've got are already pink flowered, aren't they? So that's bag number 1. And I've got a label ready to go for each one of these. Obviously Sarah thought I might pot them up individually. They will all go in one pot obviously. So we'll pop them back in their bags so that I don't need to keep tabs on them all the time. Right, so that's bag number 1. The rain's coming down a bit now. Sorry about that, there's nothing I can do about it. Again, we've got a label for each bulb, and these are large bulbs in comparison to the last ones. And this is Pleonie Santorini. These are good sized bulbs. Single new growth on that one. Single new growth on that one. And single new growth on that one. So at the moment these are not going to, blimey, these are not going to double up. If they've only got 1 new growth, then this season will only grow 1 bulb. So next season I'll still only have 3. But I was told that if you feed and water incredibly well during a growing season of one that has only put out 1 new growth, you are far more likely to get 2 new growths during that dormancy period ready for the following year. So although I'm only going to get 3 growths and hopefully 3 flowers, we can put enough food and energy into those new bulbs so that next year they will produce 2 each. But we should get at least 1. Right, so that's that one. And that was 3 by 10. Oh, I didn't tell you the colours, did I? Didn't read out the colours. Off-white flowers with a brown and yellow lip. So that's going to have a colour combination quite similar to some of the Coleogenes that introduce brown on the lip. Right, so that's that one. That means I've now got 2 white Coleogenes, because one of the ones I've already got is basically a white bloom. Right, this was 3 by 6 pounds in here, and these are small bulbs. Right, so we've got 1 new growth on that one, 1 new growth on that one, and 1 new growth, possibly 2 new growths on that. Oh no, that's just a bit of fluff. So we've only got 1 new growth on each of those this time as well, and this is Pleonie Quizzapoo Peregrine. Guess what colour? Peach flowers with a yellow lip. Selected for colour, not necessarily the vigour of the bulbs. A peachy coloured flower with a yellow lip sounds pretty special. So that's that one. 3 of those, so that'll make a nice little pot full. Hopefully we'll get 3 blooms so we can find out. I mean, these bulbs should all bloom in the next couple of months, so we'll see these flowers not far away. And then I've got to grow them on vigorously during the year. I'll leave that one till last. And this is another 3 by 6 pounds. And again, these are quite small. So we've got a new growth on that one. New growth on that one, and a new growth on that one. Sarah did say that where she gets these from, they are kept very cold, and so they're only just showing signs of coming back into growth. This time next year my bulbs will probably have larger growths. One, because I shall feed heavy all through the season. They won't come out of their pots, so they can, you know, grow and grow until they're ready to stop. None of this unpotting, possibly a bit too early. Right, so this is Marion Johnson Bubs. And it is peach pink with a deep yellow lip. You see, I've gone for unusual colour combinations, or potentially unusual colour combinations. Right, and that was another 3 by 6 quid. So these weren't all expensive, you know. However, the last bag was sounding expensive until you stop and think what it actually is, and it wasn't expensive at all. Now there's only 2 bulbs in here, but they are big. Big. And I hope that bodes well for the size of the flowers. So basically what we've got here is 2 by 20 pounds. So these were my expensive items. You know, if you think that that costs the same as the plant. Nice big strong growth on there, just the one. And again, this one looks like it's got 2 new growths. So at the end of the season we may well have 3 new bulbs. And this is Santung Ducat. Bright yellow flowers. I've been looking at the yellow flowered Pleones. There's only one species that's yellow, so they're quite difficult to it's quite difficult to get yellow hybrids. All you can do really is take that yellow species and cross it with something that's incredibly pale in colour to try and keep the yellow. You know, something like white, or creamy coloured ones, or very pale pink or very pale peachy coloured ones, to try and keep the yellow. But to get a hybrid that's a bright yellow, that's pretty good going. And yeah, I'm well pleased with those. Good sized bulbs. We should get blooms on those, no worries at all, and hopefully we'll have 3 bulbs at the end of the season. Then hopefully, in my care, the following season we will get 6 bulbs, possibly even more. We shall see, but we should get 6. I doubt there'll be any more. So what I will do is, when I'm processing this video, I will have a quick look on the internet, and if I can find that any of these have got pictures, I will borrow them from the internet for the video, and then when I've finished doing the editing, I'll put them back. You believe that? Anyway, the cheapest yellow Pleonie bulbs I have seen ever, 50 quid. And I've seen them for 150 quid. So to get 20 quid ones, I think there were 8 in the tray, and I've got 2 of them. And I'm well pleased with that, despite them being... They're expensive for Pleonie bulbs, but it depends what what you think you're paying for. That's a newly registered hybrid. You know, there might only be 50 bulbs in the world, you know. Anyway, those are the Pleonies that I got. 5 different sorts, so we got 5 new types to add to the collection, and a new Dendrobium, plus some more bark for the Pleonie mix that I'm using. Sarah said, "What do you plant them in?" I said, I held up the bag because I just picked it up. I was just putting it with my stuff. I said I use this and torn up sphagnum moss, the dried sphagnum, and some perlite. She said that's okay. So she said, "Do you put them outside?" I said, "I don't plan on putting them outside, at least until the leaves are well underway. They may go outside for the summer months in a sheltered area, but I said the trouble with them going outside is I haven't got anywhere I can put them where they won't get rained on. So they could get absolutely soaked, the leaves will get damaged, they won't be as well looked after outside as they will inside, even though potentially it might be a little bit warmer inside, but not always. Those heat waves we had last year, it was warmer outside than it was in the grow room because the grow room wasn't getting the sun. Whereas outside in the garden, you know, the ambient temperatures outside were up near 30 degrees and even greater than that. Never got that warm in here. So, decision not made yet. Anyway, that's what I came back with, so jolly good, and I'm pleased with what I came back with. Helped out by the donation, as I said, and I had a nice day out, nice chat to a few people, getting to know a couple of the other staff at Burnhams now, apart from, I mean, Arthur I've known years obviously, and Sarah, but I'm starting to get to be able to chat to some of the others. If you go there on a weekday, although there were people around, it wasn't busy, so the staff can get on with chores. And they've got an open weekend coming up, so they were busy tidying, which means they can talk while they're doing it. I'm not interrupting their work as such. Anyway, so that's what I came back with. The next video will be for tomorrow, Saturday. I'm travelling to get Hannah tomorrow and coming back with her. So we normally get back here about lunchtime. And the video for tomorrow I will put together in a minute. I've already filmed it. It's the clips from the flowering stuff at Burnhams that I saw. And then I will try and record a Sunday chat video today as well. So I haven't got to do any filming over the weekend, but I still get a video on each day. And I don't miss the Sunday chat, because they don't work as well on Monday. So I'll see what I can do. That's not guaranteed, that's a hope to have. And thanks for dropping by. See you next time.